Hello, everyone, and today my presentation is on how dietary patterns in midlife can affect cognitive function in later life. So this study was conducted by Jing Ru and her team at the Huzhong University of Science and Technology in Hubei Province, China. A few American institutions also helped, including the Department of Nutrition at Harvard and the Hillman Cancer Center at the University of Pittsburgh. Wu is the assistant professor of the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics, where she focuses research on health insurance, genetic biomarkers, and ADHD. This research was also published in October of this year. Wu and her team hope to examine the association between various healthful dietary patterns and risk of cognitive impairment in Chinese adults. To do this, they used data from the Singapore Chinese Health Study of 63,257 participants. About 28,000 of those were men, and then about 35,000 of those were women, aged 45 to 75 years at the baseline interview. Even though there were many initial participants, the published study only shows people that completed all 3 follow-up visits and the cognitive function test at the 3rd visit, which was between 2014 and 2016. The number of final participants was about 16,948 men and women. This study was also approximately a 20-year study. So first, they conducted a face-to-face baseline interview using a structured questionnaire to collect demographic information, such as things as usual diet, cigarette smoking, and other factors. At the baseline interview, the usual dietary intake over the past year was assessed via a self-administered semi-quantitative food frequency questionnaire. The questionnaire incorporated 165 dietary items commonly consumed by the study population in Singapore. For each food item, participants were asked to choose from 8 frequency categories, from never to 2 or more times a day, and 3 defined portion sizes being small, medium, and large with the aid of photographs. Also, the scores of 5 dietary patterns were calculated based on the relative or absolute intake of various food items, alcohol, and nutrients. Cognitive assessment was conducted via a Singapore modified version of the Mini Mental State Examination, which is a 30-point questionnaire that is used extensively in clinical and research settings to measure cognitive impairment. A higher score indicated better cognitive function. Because this test is biased to education level, different cutoff points were used depending on education level. 17,107 participants took part in the testing during the 3rd follow-up visit, but after excluding participants with a missing value in the assessment and participants who were mute, blind, or deaf, they ended on the 16,948 number of participants that they analyzed. Here are the results. What they found was that cognitive impairment was present in about 14.4% of participants. Participants with higher scores were also more likely to be women that were more educated, never smokers, and physically active. Also, the percentage of women total was 59.2%. They also found that the dietary patterns had a moderate to high correlation with each other. Researchers were also able to support the hypothesis that a Mediterranean diet supplemented with olive oil or nuts improved global cognition compared with a low-fat diet. The research was hindered, however, by 5 factors. First, cognitive function was only evaluated during the 3rd follow-up visit. Thus, they were not able to capture cognitive decline over time. Second, the self-reporting of dietary intake and other coverts through baseline interviews is open to measurement errors. Third, dietary intake was only assessed at baseline, and subsequent changes during follow-up were not captured. 4. Self-selection bias is possible since participants in the 3rd follow-up visit did not include those who died or could not attend the 3rd follow-up visit. Also, as they expected, those who did attend the 3rd follow-up visit were younger and generally had a healthier lifestyle and less comorbidities at baseline compared with those who couldn't make it. And finally, they did not collect information on household income or other socioeconomic status variables in the study except for education level, which could have skewed results. Even though there were many limitations, this study could help to understand how dietary intake could affect cognitive function in later life. Thank you, and here are my references.